5 o'clock in the morning, if there was 1 minute left, exactly 1 minute left before we went into class, I laid on the ramp, put a rock under my shoulder, under my head, and I fell asleep for that 1 minute. It was a long sleep, that 1 minute. 5 o'clock in the morning, you're out reading a book, and your eyes read the same lines. You couldn't focus your eyes. We were tired. We were going day and night. And it was intensive. It was real intense. In fact, Scotty was surprised that I took that. I went through mechanic school. He said, it was an intense course. He said, how'd you ever get to take it? I said, well, they just put me in. That was it. He said, that was a hell of a good course, you know. So, and we did everything. I mean, they had to mount engines and everything else and run them and test them and all.
Hey, come to think of it, they had a badge we were supposed to get when we were out of there.
I never got one.
Well, if I go to I'll get you one because Rick Jones asked.
Oh, I'd love it.
He told him we've been searching for him for like about 3 years. You know, Ray was in it too. And we've been searching for these badges for like about 3 years, and we finally located them.
Oh my gosh.
If you get them, I'll get you one.
Okay.
You remember the one? There was a badge, and then they had the ballers underneath your specialties, like gunner.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Well, this is one.
I never saw it.
Well, you never saw it because they're scarce items. They're 35 of them. How did you guys go from mechanic school to being in the air?
Well, after mechanic school, we went to the gunnery school.
Aerial gunnery school.
And that was intense. 50 miles an hour through winding roads, shooting clay pigeons, using shotguns on the ground and on the truck. Also 30 caliber machine guns we used. Then we used the 50 caliber machine guns, even the machine guns in the turret on the ground for training. Then we flew and hit the air targets. The socks were carried behind another plane, a target plane, and the ammunition was marked with color. So everybody, they knew what your mark was. They were painted. But now, at one point, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I didn't hear my name called. Everybody whose name wasn't called was to go to their barracks. I didn't hear my name called. I went back to the barracks. I did watch repair work at that time. I had a couple watches I want to work on. That's what I was concentrating on. So at 3 o'clock, I looked up. Boom! Big ball of flame in the sky. The plane was loaded with oxygen and gasoline. It blew up. Went back and kept on working. 3:15, another plane blew up. Later on, he comes walking down. He says, "You're dead." And my name was on the list, you know. I didn't hear my name called. So there were only 3 of us alive. All the J's, K's, L's, and M's were wiped out. 3 of us were in the barracks to get. That's all.
So they called you by alphabetical order?
Oh, yes.
We didn't have that large a class. We only had that.
No.
No, we were lucky to have.
Where do you put your lecture?
50 or 60, just flip and go. I don't know where they had it straight over here. That was
in gunnery school.
Then lucky break.
That's the one time
I remember one thing. Remember how we used to have to field strip those 50s?
Field strip the 50s, blindfolded, take it all apart, put it back together.
20 seconds, wasn't it?
Oh God, it didn't take too long. We learned it.
You know what a 50 caliber machine gun looks like.
It's a good size.
I need a lot of feel.
The slug is that long. And armor piercer and tracer.
How long did you train before they sent you up into action?
March of 43, was it? 44. The year. That was mechanic school, gunnery school, also got our squadrons together and flew and
Now, did you go straight into A-20s?
Right into A-20.
Yeah, right into
We started.
But I was on other planes. I was on 25s and 26s.
Oh, I was supposed to be on the 25s that blew up.
Yeah.
Now, the fellow that I know in Coriopolis, he went to the same school, but they didn't have 25s. He came in after us. We were one of the first groups.
Well,
we were one of the first into that gunnery school.
What was the A-20 like?
It was a 2-engine bomber.
Engine bomber. We were training for a low level.
Yeah.
I mean, not like the big boys. We were down on the deck.
We flew 10,000 feet usually
10,000
in
feet
12.
was the highest altitude. Lots of times it was only maybe 1,000.
No oxygen up there at all.
Cold.
Cold. Freezing. So on my 21st birthday, my pilot bought me a present. And I just acknowledged it on D-Day this year. And I signed the card. The little kid with the electric flying suit. So he bought me a heated flying suit in England from one of the RAF guys.
So you stayed warm.
For only 2 missions, and then I ended up in a hospital for 9 months. I had my whole body smashed. So I got out of the hospital.
How did that happen?
After my 52nd mission, I was out to get a little rest, and a truck came and ran both ends, a big 6x6 Army truck, both ends over my chest. Crushed I didn't have a lung.
Yeah, how did that happen?
It smarted. He just kept on going, and knocked me over, and the front wheel went over my chest, and then a double back.
You were crossing a street, or?
It was right there in the, like a curb, you know. And I got run over, back broken in 3 places, heart pushed over, my lung punctured, my kidney crushed, all internal injuries. I was in a cast for 7 months, and then a brace.
You want to tell him how much basic training we had? I was in Miami Beach. 18 days.
We didn't have too much basic training, but I had a deal. I spent more time in a hotel or working on the watches for.
We lived right on the beach in hotels.
Oh yeah. I went down and see the hotel we stopped and we lived in.
Chelsea. We lived in Chelsea.
You had the Chelsea. I had. Oh, I forgot the name of it.
Well,
When I went, yeah, Blackstone. I went down to the hotel. And I see all a bunch of Cubans there. We went, Louise and I went down and visited, you know. And I went down to Fort Myers, too. There wasn't anything left there. Even the fence I used to crawl over and go out.
Well, Buckingham Field, is that gone?
Yeah.
That's a field we were
flat.
Yeah.
Now, you tail gunners, nose gunners?
It was tunnel. It took the bottom and back of the plane. It was you had to crawl up underneath the tail of the plane. And above that was a turret. So turret and
it's on that page where you're at now.
Yeah. He was tunnel gunner and I was tunnel gunner. We got to see the whole world. Everything was in front of us. Down, the planes behind, and we had a window on each side. We could see it both sides.
We swung a gun out of here.
So you were looking down mostly.
We saw nothing.
Up under you.
I have a picture with the.
And we had the top turret. See, that was a twin 50.
So you were really man on 2 guns.
No, there was another gunner.
The armor used to fly here.
I flew both.
But I used to fly turret once in a while. Switch off.
Yeah, I flew turret, tunnel, and then I'd fly in the nose of the glass nose.
Yeah.
So I had all 3 positions, and then I was photographer too.
We had 6 forward flying 50 out of the nose. And let me tell you, when they start chattering, you know.
Yeah.
Was it a good plane?
Well, it was one of the best.
It flew at about 350.
It was the fastest attack bomber. What was that? Only attack bomber we had. It was faster than the 26 or the 25.
Well, actually, this plane was the only combat-ready plane when the war broke out.
Yeah.
The Russians used it. The French used it. The British used it. And it was a very versatile plane. We did the Pacific.
Each nation had a different designation. The British called them the Bostons.
Boston.
I don't know what they were.
I have the specs on it in there.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a book along it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, were you guys from different parts of the country when you met?
We were both in Pennsylvania,
Both from
and I was
Pennsylvania.
from Sharon, Pennsylvania.
We had the damnedest group. I mean, it was the diverse of all of them.
Mostly in the east.
Yeah, mostly in the east.
Mostly in the
We
east.
had
A lot of from Pennsylvania.
Flores.
Flores was from Texas. He was the guy who was trying to teach me the box.
You guys just kind of connected up because you were from Pennsylvania.
No, we were in the same training.
Same squad. They didn't call it
Regular training, yeah.
Classes or whatever.
Yeah, same classes in gunnery and in the mechanic school.
You guys became friends that way.
We went on dance together.
Dance together. We dated together.
How long has it been since you guys have seen each other?
Well, the last time I saw Ashton, I got out of the hospital and I was sent to Texas. I wasn't supposed to travel that far because after I got out of the hospital, and I had my brace on, back brace, the shoulder and hip braces on, and 2 steel rods and back. So I'm lying on a cot. It was so hot down in San Antonio. And then somebody came up and hit me in the shoulder. He always hits good. And I looked up, I said, Ashton. He said, you little bastard, what's the idea of telling everybody I'm dead? So he said, come on down to the PW section. There are other buddies of ours right in the PW section that made it. So we had a ball. We all were drunk, I think.
This was after you had been liberated.
After we liberated back to the States.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking out to San Antonio to be discharged. That was Randolph.
Yeah, Randolph, uh-huh.
Now, did you think he was dead, or?
Yeah,
Supposed to get action.
heck, all of a year.
That was almost a year you were missing in action.
8 months
I was missing in action for like about 3 months before they notified him.
before
Then I
that.
was in 3 different hospitals.
Tell me about what happened to you, the mission that you were on, and you just went down, or?
Well, that was a dickie. We went in, it was Julich, railroad yard at Julich. We put a marshalling yard. That's what
This was in Germany itself.
Yeah, Julich, Germany.
A big concentration of trains and tracks.
And when was it?
Well, we went in and it was cloudy. It was clouds there, and we got below the clouds so they could get vigilating for bombing, When we dropped below the clouds, boy, we dropped into it. All hell broke loose. And we were in a high fight. There was Devon, York, and Morehouse. All 3 of us, kaboom. Just took the 3 of us right out of here.
Right off.
Devon just blew up right in the air. And the only one that got out of that was Middleton, and he was in the hospital with me, in Germany. And that poor son of a gun, he was burnt out. Man, his mouth was just raw.
Now, you were down and crashed, or did you jump?
No, I bailed out.
Took the big jump.
Yeah, I wanted to jump.
Just describe the whole thing.
Well, when we got it, we got a direct hit right where New York's at. And that just took everything.
And he was the gunner, or?
No, he was the pilot. If you just started,
Took the pilot.
when it hit that, it just,
Without the pilot, the plane doesn't fly because there's nobody there.
nobody there.
No controls. There was only one man flying a plane, and he was separated from the rest of us.
That's right.
Bulkhead. Couldn't get to
We
him.
couldn't get through the bomb bay to get to them or anything else. When these guys hit, it took the wing off. They just went like that. So I got Wiles down. I said Wiles was okay. Wiles was okay. But after he landed, he broke his ankle when he landed, and he got a hell of a time. He got out. I go and it looks like that.
So you bailed out, and then
Yeah, well, he come down that turret. That turret, he stopped his shoot on. I said, let's go. And we went.
So when you landed, did you say 45 outlook for Germans?
Like right over the target, buddy. Oh.
Did you? Oh, God.
There they are running around with motorcycles. There they are right around me. They got to the end of the I wasn't loose more than 5 seconds. I don't think because
you got you right away.
And were you hurt? Yeah. Yeah, I was wounded in the leg, the face. What? I got wounded in the face, Joe. You remember the armor plate they had on you?
On the back. Right behind, you know?
Yeah.
You hit that.
I hit that with my face.
I tried to take those screws out one day when we had a hang bomb. It didn't come off.
They put you in a series of hospitals?
Yeah, I was in 3 different German hospitals. Finally, I went to the Luftwaffe hospital. The first hospital was really nice. They had nuns for nurses in there, and they civilian doctors. And then the next hospital was an Army hospital, and then from there they went to the Luftwaffe.
Air Force hospital.
Yeah. And from there to the that was interrogation.
Yeah.
Well, when I got to there, I didn't even know there was a war. You know, I'd been down about 3-4 weeks, I guess I was down, and then they could ship me off to the prison camp.
And where was that at?
Up in Pomerania, West Teichau. Butler, the name of it. And then they took us out of there in February. February the 5th, and don't forget that. That was a hell of a birthday present.
Is that your birthday?
Yeah, the Russians were starting that drive that winter, coming through there.
Yeah.
And they took us out and just kept us back and forth in front of the Russians. And finally, we got down near Holly. We marched like 700 miles.
The Germans marched you in
every day.
As the Russians were getting closer.
Yeah, just to keep us away from the Russians.
It was in the poem.
Yeah. And we would come down to, they marched us down and around. I've got a map of the route. And it came into the Oder River, Holly, and 104 Timberwolves liberators.
Okay.
We marched across the bridge, and the guards gave us their guns. I took one and I smashed it over a damn stone out of you sons of bitches.
Now, how long were you with POW?
8 months. What really ticked me off, I figured I'd get ready to go to the South Pacific.
They wouldn't have sent me there, and then they found out I couldn't bend over. The guy gives me a tap on my back. He says, "Where do you hurt?" I says, "Well, right here." He gives me a tap with his knuckle. I got wet from the top of my head down to my toes, soaked, and I collapsed. He said, "You should be in the hospital." I said, "The hell with you after 9 months? I don't want to know part of it." So I got discharged in Indian Town Gap.
So you guys really hadn't kept in touch since then?
Since then, until I found a piece of paper that had Louis Ashton on it, Danville, PA, and my wife traced him through the library in Sharon, and the library right here in Danville.
Where did the piece of paper come from?
A little scrap of paper.
Right in there.
Little scrap of paper.
If you wanted, you could take a picture of that.
This was something. This scrap of paper is what got us together. Somewhere here. Out of a little notebook, he wrote it. He wrote that in March of 44, or 43. 1943.
And you just came across
I came across that with some of my accumulation of memoirs.
How long ago was this?
That I found last year. No, I'm sorry. 2 years ago. Just before a reunion in Las Vegas we had with our 410th Bomb Group.
And so you decided to check up on your...
And then here we were tracing a lot of the guys, and I went through one of the wallets that I had. I put in a safe, and I said, "By gosh, wouldn't that be nice if he's still living there or still alive?" And my wife says, "Did you want to locate?" I says, "Hell, I've been trying to locate that guy, see what happened to him." She says, I'll try and trace him. So she went on the phone and she found him. So his sister runs over and says, you got to tell him, call you tell about that.
Benny was a librarian, went into K, and she got a hold of my sister, because I have an unlisted number. She got a hold of my sister, and my sister brought me the note that Kate had written that I was to call him.
So really, you found each other through the library?
Yeah.
Through the library. Through my wife. She could trace people very easily.
Is she a librarian?
No, she is my spouse and my assistant. She works with me.
So, what is, briefly, what's happened? You've done a lot of catching up this weekend?
Amen.
and where's life taking each of you? Do you have children, grandchildren?
We have none.
We have wonderful.
We have oodles of nieces and nephews, and then I have one little grandniece that's like a grandchild.
But in the course of time, both of you have gotten married here, obviously. What kind of reunion has this been for your wives?
She was really into it. I guess they have a reunion too.
It's a funny thing. It's a funny thing that when Jones and his wife came in, she and I was Julie's wife. They never did shut up. They did more about it than Jones and I did. That's proven true again.
That happened. I better smoke.
Yeah, I know.
Keep your lungs clear. That's how I clear it.
And what have you done for a living, employment-wise?
I did the same thing that saved my life in Myrtle Beach. I mean, not Myrtle. In
England, you kept repairing watches.
I'm still repairing watches.
Yeah. I've been construction almost.
So both of you.
I built the Regis Manor in 1961.
Ah. So both of you had your share of close calls. You in Europe with the
A lot of close calls.
A lot of close.
And you got to stay in contact with each other.
Certainly. This way we could find out what the heck ever happened. We got lost. In fact, when I inquired about people who were in Ireland, that's where we got split up. He went into the 416th, and I got into the 410th bomb group. Same planes and all.
That's the official name, 416th Bombing Group.
Yeah, that's the one I was in. He was a
410.
He only had 3 groups of A-20s over there.
Mm-hmm. And what was the larger group you with?
I think the 410th was the largest. Because we had about 500 guys show up at our reunion.
At the group reunion.
Yeah. In our squadron.
Reunion. I'll tell you why. The only guys I knew were, I remember going in the squadron. The group was.
We had 3. Yeah.
Kept that close. My group never kept close.
Yeah, you guys were in different groups then.
Yeah.
Yes. And we had 3 squadrons.
Yeah, all the groups would hook up.
Yeah, we
fly the same place. We fly together.
But lots of times we would have part of a formation, and then another group would come in with, the other group would come in with it, or vice versa, whatever, It was led by the one plane, but the group was made of different units.
After 47 years, my wife gets a call. I was out. So I called back. It was my pilot found me. And we thought he got killed in the Korean War, Lieutenant Scott at that time. And he got out as colonel, and I said, shame on you, you should have been a general. His grandfather was General Scott, Scottsville, Illinois, was named after him. And his father was a test pilot. He got blown up in Dayton, where I'm going to this reunion this month. And so we thought he got killed in the Korean War, because he was test pilot, and then he went into the Korean War. But here, when we talked, He was in the Korean War, he was in Vietnam, and he was in the Cuban crisis, and he was test pilot in between. Then he taught in Texas, and he flew the last flying A-20 in Texas. There's one A-20 that's flying. The Confederate Air Force had one, but it was washed out. The guy became 70, had a heart attack and cracked up. So this man in Texas had an A-20, put $1 million into it, personal money, and Scotty flew that. And that is the only one left. He was supposed to donate it to Smithsonian.
A-20J.
I'm not sure. I didn't ask him whether it's G or J. But anyway, he was supposed to donate it to the Smithsonian Institute, and whether it's there or in Texas, I'll have to inquire.
They've got one out in Dayton. They've got one out in Dayton. The museum out there.
Yeah, there is one in Dayton.
G out there.
Or G, yeah. That's what I was told.
So really, these reunions, even though it's been 50, 45 years,
just like yesterday.
They still happen.
Just like yesterday, yeah.
I'm going to one of St. Louis.
Now there is one being rebuilt in in Beaver. That's the airport next to the Pittsburgh Airport. And they're putting a big Pittsburgh Airport. We might even have a reunion there next year. And all the parts are there except the engine. So I have pictures of all the parts. In fact, I brought them with me. And they're going to assemble. I met the crew chief. Now the Heritage Foundation is helping out on it. And they're taking donations. So we're going to try and raise some funds during the reunion. They need thousands of rivets, but they'll get them just by requesting them. This man in California is paying for the material, and the foundation too. So the complete body was there, with the exception of the glass and the turret, and the armor was out, laying alongside the plane. The wings, one was being worked on. The interior of the wing was in excellent shape, just like it was flying. It was found in Nicaragua, so I assume that it was stripped and used for dope, because it was a fast plane. I think it was 383 top speed, and that was fast in those days. We're about the fastest. When they trained our guns on us, and it was something. Now I looked out the little window on the side, and I see this man break away from formation in the distance. He was in trouble, and I had a laugh. It looked like a whip hitting towards his tail. They were behind him. He was ahead of the flag. They were just whipping him just like that, but he made it away. And it was an unusual type of situation.
Now how old were you guys when you first
28, 20. I was 21 when I was a veteran with 52 missions.
How many missions did you fly?
I had 43. They got me out. 42. They got me out. They never gave me credit for 43.
So I don't know.
Retired.
You got to bring the plane back before they gave you
You got to the target.
Yeah, flew in and walked out. We marched 700 miles through Germany.
Now, you guys remember these things like they were yesterday.
Yeah.
Was that such a formidable time in your life that it's?
I think
You never forget it.
I think that was the most unusual thing that ever happened to anybody. Now, I asked my pilot a question. I said, did you ever see anything like D-Day? We went in on D-Day. I had 3 flights on D-Day. In and out, down, get coffee, and down this back in the plane, get up again, loaded.
That just for both that you left.
And he was over the same target as I was. And so I asked him if he saw anything like it. He says, never, and there's never going to be an experience like
with that channel, you could have jumped out of that plane any place and landed on a ship.
Yep. They said there were between 10 and 11,000 planes. The figures bounce around. at one time in the air, at every level, in every direction. It was just like a swarms of
What the hell was the
bees.
name of that town? We wiped it right off the map. We did 1,800 feet that morning. Was it Arachi? Or
That one I didn't go. I went St. Nazaire, wiped that out.
no, this was
Then we
Arachi.
had to go back the next day and knock the walls down because it was done in place. There was nothing left but rubble when we got
Then in
through.
the evening we got St. Lo. That was the base.
St. Lo was a hot spot.
We went down like through a valley. And little trees were coming up like this. Like this across, right?
Yeah, which was, I was going to say, with the nature of your plane, you guys were in there low.
We saw everything. In fact, I think I was able to identify trucks, some jeeps, and other vehicles. And well, my eyes were real sharp then. And they made me as an observer at the same time a photographer and everything else.
We were trained to identify an aircraft, enemy aircraft, in 1/100th of a second. Now, do you know what 1/100th of a second is?
Yeah.
Just a flash,
Just a
flash
flash.
of the camera, that's all.
And you can identify it. We were trained to do that.
We took an airplane
You don't have
identification.
much chance of an air when you're flying along and that guy's coming in on you. You want to know what he is.
And I was so sleepy during those identification sessions.
You do it in your sleep. It's second nature, a lot of
I
it.
fell asleep on my feet under the projector this one day and made me stand. I fell asleep. He said, "Get out there in the middle of the floor." I got up there. I fell asleep on my feet. I still was standing. I was tired.
You can sit there.
Oh, I was tired. That was
Some of us can't
wear out.
palm trees down here in Florida. You know, you sit
Oh,
there.
yeah. That was a real experience. But, it was interesting too.
Yeah.
When I mentioned to Scotty, I said, "Gee, that was interesting. All these puffs all around." I said, "Big patterns and all." He says, "You're sick." He said, "I was scared."
Well, we had quite a time.
Good times too.
Yeah, we had our good
Good
times.
times.
Well, we had our good times.
I'd sneak over the fence in Fort Myers.
You know,
Go out.
when we moved to France, I took my bicycle along from England.
Oh,
I just took it along.
you didn't have the right things in mind. You were looking for fun. You know what I took along? From England, France, there was a cart full of food,
Oh!
and they were going to leave it there. I says, "What?" It was beef stew. Nobody would eat. So I said to Willie, I said, "Fill up your bag with that, and I'll fill one up. We'll throw it in the plane." I said, "The day will come. We're going to be hungry." And sure enough, we were hungry. In fact, we were so hungry. My Scotty came in from England.
My lunch was a can of cheese out of a K ration.
Oh, you know what I used to have for breakfast? You know what I had for breakfast? I had the best meal. I wouldn't get out of the sack. I had 8 blankets on, my flying suit on, boots on, and I was still cold. So I'd reach under my bunk, under my cot, the folding cot. I'd pull out this box, open it up, and there was a piece of pepperoni in there. I'd take a chunk of pepperoni. This was breakfast. And then I'd take the bottle, and it was champagne. And I'd go back to sleep. The heck with you. I'd sleep. I wouldn't go eat anywhere. No, sir. So we didn't have any food.
Well, you know, yeah, but actually when we were flying, we didn't have that kind of a schedule. We had a,
No schedule.
we were, other than flying, that was it. We were scheduled for flight, we were there, that was it. Anything else, they didn't bother us too much on any of that stuff. We were more like free agents.
Yeah.
Now, what was the date you were shot down?
September the 29th, 1944. At 4:35 p.m., the starter was due in Germany.
And your the day you were liberated.
April 28th.
And those were American troops.
Timberwolf Division, 104th Timberwolf. We marched across the bridge at Holly on the Old River. Marched across the bridge, and the Americans were on the other side of the bridge.
And that's in Germany.
That's in Germany.
So the Russians went into Berlin, we couldn't go any further.
Well, you know, it was funny, Joe, when we were on
It took 50 years to get things straightened out.
Yeah, made a mistake. I knew that I was with a man in the hospital that was the first group into Germany, into Berlin. And he got into von Ribbentrop's house. He had his private coin collection, 600 roll of his film on that, that German film, and a ruby and diamond necklace. Somebody took that off when he got into the hospital. So he had the coin collection yet, and he had this man stayed awake all day, fought the war all night, and he was cracking up. So the doctor asked me if I'd take him out and treat him. So we went out, got drunk, and stayed drunk for 2 weeks. He was drunk. He stayed drunk. I went back. I got my rest. And we had more fun. We had more parties. We met people in Long Island. We had the run of the place. Mansions and everything else. Country club. We had a ball. But he had cured.
No, they flew us out of Germany to Camp Lucky. Lucky Strike. Took us out in 46. C-46.
And one other thing, your feelings when you heard he was shot down, you thought that was it, that he had bought it?
Well, yeah. What do you think?
There were only two things. You're either dead or you're a POW.
That's it.
You don't have any territory.
I had one man.
Very few guys ever made it.
Whenever you hit what they call the IP point, initial point, you stayed in a straight line to the target. You didn't vary. That's when you got it.
That's when you got it.
Because they took aim on you.
They wait for that sometimes.
They know that you can't go left or right, up or down. You just head for that target straight
level
and drop your bombs and get out if you can make it. And then you're sitting ducks.
They
had those guns just trained.
That's what they call us on the IP.
Yeah, that's the place you get it.
Okay, if you want to write down your name and your wife's names, and I think we'll be set.
Okay.
He knows from looking at my pictures. I love this kind of thing. World War II.
Yeah, World War II.
And we'll set up a picture here.
All right. Yeah, he just got in this a little while ago. We always wondered whether he'd go away all my wife. Being on time is not his greatest asset.
Last night I said, we'll get up early enough. I want to get out about Louis, L-O-U-I-S-E. I said, I'd like to get out about 8 o'clock. We had a little discussion about the mileage. You call it 80s. The 80s, and they said 262 miles. Actually, it's 230 miles.
Yeah, you came in at 80.
80.
With a piece of cake, and they didn't have.
I averaged 55 miles an hour coming here, 3 hours. I have it on my computer there. But we had made good time.
Yeah.
75 sometimes, kind of cheating.
Yeah, well, a friend of mine, his son, his brother, and I, back at the beginning of July, we drove out to Oshkosh and back for the
my brother went up.
The air show. So that's how long.
When I started flying, my brother fell in love with airplanes, and he's a nut about airplanes.
Yeah,
This will be one of the greatest little gifts. I'm kidding. That thing is really nice. This is the invasion stripes.
Right.
And that was the greatest thing, in the invasion. It was a big one.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Here's my claim to fame.
Oh, you got all that stuff. You mean you got all of it?
They just sent me my records.
I didn't get any. I didn't get anything.
You know what this is?
Which one? No.
Take a look at it. See what it says on the top of it.
Gotta get my glasses.
Oh, Normandy. He did. I never got it. Where'd you get that?
I'm going to have to send
Okay.
it.
I think keep that. Keep that.
Where did I go? Get your hat.
Yeah, that's the plane.
Okay. Where's my hat?
Where's your hat when you ran here?
At least we'll have 9th Air Force on it.
Yeah.
You want your glasses off, don't you, dear?
Yeah. I'll take them off.
You want your cigarette?
I'll take them off.
Maybe then you won't look like a smoke.
I'll pretend I don't smoke.
Okay. What's it going down?
Where is get after He lives, he's retired from the...
Mansfield, Ohio, or Pennsylvania?
No, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
And I go out. And sure as hell, it's and I made him a reunion. He was going to present me with a few of them. It was the last group reunion. I didn't go. Because I don't care if fights and goes to the squadron. He goes to all the squadron meetings. He goes to all of them. See, the group is 1 year. Now, next year will be a squadron.
We just had them all
This year is a squadron, next year is a group. That's the way ours runs.
You mean each squadron has its own?
Yeah.
And then the group has its
And
own.
the group has its own.
That's not a bad
Every
idea.
year. That's the way that...
I'm going to have to get these guys together.
But that's the way ours runs. See, now, I don't know where the group reunion is going to be, but our squadron reunion is in St. Louis this year. Now, year after, then it'll be somewhere else. They just had it in Harrisburg the last time.
Oh, we had in Orlando once. We had Las Vegas and San Antonio.
Uh-huh.
And Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. I remember Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. And they're nice up there. My gosh. I mean, the guys were super.
That's all the nice time. We had
Oh, heck, sure.
no, we went to a ball game and all out there. We went to the Pilots and Cardinals.
Yeah.
But when we were out in Cleveland, we went on a trip to the Cayuga River out in the lake area.
Yeah, that would have been good, too, because there's nothing to do there.
Yeah.
Now, if we go to Pittsburgh, now, this fellow's wife, she says she's not going to make arrangements. She's deep in it because he represents the 647th.
Yeah.
And she says she's not going to make arrangements, entertainment and everything else this time. They just moved into another house. They had a townhouse, and walking up the steps and all of it. They decided that they bought a house at one level, and before they moved in, they kept adding on to it.
This isn't fancy. It's all we need to take care of.
That's it. That's all you need.
I'll show you all
I
right.
built my house 35 years ago, and I'm still in it.
I'll show you our place out there. But it's got too much. It's too big.
Yeah.
Too much steps. She can't take the steps. This year, she can be free. She haven't made because I haven't let her step to make her.
Well, when I built mine, I figured that I wanted room for a wheelchair and to get in because I didn't know how long I was going to be able to walk around, So we built one floor, and even the driveway I could get right in. It's easy maintenance. I can't maintain it now. That's the trouble. I can't paint.
Out there we got like 20 steps going up from the basement.
Oh.
The garage in the basement, there's like 20 steps going up. But then on the outside, I got a double-car garage up on top. And that's all, but you have 5 steps down and 5 steps up again. But you can't make it.
You can't do that.
You can't make it.
You can't. You have to save your energy.
That's one way to do it.
I tell my wife, just an apartment would be all right, because I've got so damn much to do. I had it on the garage, and the back of the house needs painting. she would do the painting, and I said, you can't do that anymore. And you can't find anybody that you could trust anymore. These kids are crazy.
Don't tell me I know.
So even when I was building, I was the contractor on the job. I designed the house. I cut the stone for the house. I did everything, plumbing, electrical, the whole damn bit.
I built this one out there myself. I'll take you out and show you. I'm glad to. I gotta get paid at the break. I've been working this morning on it, doing some stuff. But
they have restaurants around here, don't they?
oh yeah, we'll go.
Okay, pick out a nice restaurant. It's on me too, and no, you're not. No, you're not going to buy another.
Huh?
I invited you.
No, sir.
Yes, did. Now what the hell is? Oh.
I'll show you.
Oh, that's
See if I can find that one book I got.
Well, here you go. I'm going to get the other book up.
I got a real good one.
Did you want to go in? Okay.
There's a picture of Salesforce and I at the reunion.
Oh.
He always thought he was such a prick when he went to the Pentagon for 20 years and retired on the Pentagon.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Remember the beef stew I was telling you about?
Yeah.
Scotty said that'd be the last thing in his life he would eat, that beef stew. He hated it. So this one day I'm in the photo lab. We made a photo lab out of a stable in France. So Scotty walks in. He said, Joe, you have anything to eat? He said, I'm hungry. I said, yeah, I have some nice, I have some beef stew here. Anything at all. He loved it. He was hungry. I said, what the hell happened to you? He says, later on he told me it was Anderson. He and Anderson took a B-26, belonged to the colonel, say, to England, checked up for the weekend. So he lands, and here we had potholes, a couple bombs, and he cracks up this 26. He knows it's over 2 pops event. So he loved the beef stew. I said, Scotty, I told you someday you're going to be hungry enough to eat this damn stuff. And when he saw me loading it in the plane, So here, he said, Joe, you want to take a little ride with me? I said, no, hell, anything, because I would go for anything with him. Willie wouldn't. We did some dangerous things. We played choo-choo.
Did they make those caps in 416?
I don't know.
Where'd you get that?
Our secretary had ordered them. 410? I think you make a 6 out of that. I'll have to order one.
I wouldn't mind getting one. I have the 820 cap. Did you ever see that?
No. That one I didn't see. That's nice. That's a nice one. Where'd you get that one, Drew?
No, I sent it to Colorado. They have a catalog. They put a catalog out.
No
Put a
kidding.
catalog come through again. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. We couldn't find
26.
anything. We tried to find models and everything else. Nothing.
Squadron signal has the A-20s. Sometimes they call them the Boston, like the
Yeah.
British. But they have with the turret. You can make it like make a G out of it by putting a turret on it.
No kidding.
Because
Yeah,
you'd be standing on the plexiglass.
Yeah. Just a
You had the hatch.
Yeah.
But they send you the turret and all, and you can put the turret in. That's where those came from. Squadron signal. I should be getting a book from them, too.
Well, we'll get that information. So Scotty comes up and said, Joe, you want to ride with me? I said, oh, hell yeah. He says, why don't you ride piggyback? Fine. The shelf behind the fire.
I rode that way with York.
I rode with that. I told my brother there's no safety straps, nothing. So I'm at his head, and we're flying. Every field around, we went to see if there was a B-26 there. So this one place, we started landing, and I slapped his helmet. He kicked it all out. The German's still on the field, So we take off. We went all over that doggone country looking for B-26 props. We needed 2 props. Came back. I had a nice ride.
I get that squadron signal thing. I'll send it to you because I forget the name of it. There's a company out in our body. You can get that. I even have a T-shirt. I got an A-20 T-shirt.
I have a 9th Air Force T-shirt. It was a 410 bomb group. What happened? This one fellow presented every member with a T-shirt, free.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, yeah. That's neat. That's a G, too.
Yeah, that's a G.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the only guy in this area, I believe, was ever in there.
No kidding.
We had guys who was in 17 and 26.
Well, you know what? I'll have to tell you about my experience.
We got time.
When I got out of the hospital,
I'm not fancy or something.
so when I got out leave from the hospital, when they let me out, I was able to get out, I went to Warren, Ohio. There was a fellow that was with me in the service. What type is that? Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. And so I met his wife and told her that he was doing all right. He was our photographer. In fact, I was working with him in our personal lab. This one day, I went up with the camera, and I took pictures.
They used to give me that camera a lot.
Me too. So I took the pictures. The base shelf broke down. Couldn't develop them. So I said, you guys be able to develop these. I had a tank that big, oxygen tank cut in half, wax around it so it wouldn't scratch it down. We used to develop the pictures there. So we said, yeah, we'll develop. So we developed the pictures and took it down. And they said, no, we have to get these to Reams, to headquarters, Reams, right away. So we need somebody to take it over. And he looked at Chuck. I said, yeah, I'll take him. And he said, well, we need somebody shotgun. I said, give me the shotgun. So I get in the back of the Jeep, and he's out driving. We pick up a hitchhiker on the way. And so Chuck, then we're going along, and then finally he says, I turn here. We let him off. He said, I think that guy was a German. I said, Chuck, I knew he was German when he said, yeah. It didn't say anything but yeah. And yeah. So he says, God damn it, he says, why don't you let me know? I said, why? I had the gun in his head. He didn't do anything. Just pull anything and blow his head off. I don't care right now. It'd be interesting to see a German spider all over. I got a double-barrel shotgun. So, you know, that goddamn double-barrel one, you know, bulky. So, we go to Reams, deliver the pictures. We were out of cigarettes. They were selling the damn cigarettes. My CO. There's mountains of it there.
Yeah.
So we didn't have any cigarettes. So I went and got a bunch of tobacco there and brought it back. And I got a little pipe. I think I still have it somewhere. This big that just had about a half a cigarette in it. So here we're going through. He says, how'd you get to Reams? I said, well, you just drove up the highway. Just a road right into Reams. He said, you know, there were Germans still in that area. I mean, give a darn. We had one with us. It was...
No, I was only in France from the 16th to the 29th. I was only in there for a few days. Not long.
At all.
Yeah, I was back home. I hit damn near every mission from France.
Well, I think most of the action was before D-Day.
Yeah.
After that, milk runs.
Well,
A lot of them.
you know, we had a lot of
Fact,
airfield targets. We had airfields pretty well.
airfields, you know. We had rail lines a lot.
You know, the nicest creditor was a hell of a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, I saw...
They did break the back of the roof off.
You know what, yes, they did. I saw a documentary, and I'm seeing this. The only shot of an A-20 now was about 5 seconds.
No, I've seen one on D-Day where it shows the A-20s going in over Omaha.
I didn't see that one.
We made landfall over Omaha that morning.
Well, this one was significant because Eisenhower, you know, the Germans were breaking out of pocket.
Yeah.
It was St. Lo. Well, it was the Upper Peninsula, Cherbourg, and St. Lo area. And they were breaking out of one opening, and we had to stop them. So he says, we'll call out the 9th Air Force. That's what he said, right there. So here, the P-51s, of course, won the war. But here, it showed saturation bombing. Okay, South St. Not St. Lo. Kong. It showed Kong.
Carrington is the name of the
Carrington.
place we hit in D-Day.
Carrington, that was on the list too. So with this saturation bombing, day in, day out, remember? Then they showed the Germans, they didn't want any part of the war. They didn't even know what the hell was going on. They were staggering all over the place. And that's when our troops broke through. Actually, this is what won the war. It broke through, and then I remember briefing this one day, the tank commander, Patton.
Oh, yeah, well, we protected his right flank going up France.
Yeah, but the Patton was on his way to Paris in a single tank.
Mm. That son of a bitch, do you remember when he was going through there, you know, it showed him on the maps.
Mm-hmm.
And, boy, we'd be sitting out there waiting to take off up to the flare. You know, when they canceled, the flare went up. Now, I don't know how many we canceled on that son of a bitch.
We didn't get too many cancellations.
We had a lot of cancellations with that.
We weren't involved as much as the saturation bombing because we were there day and night. We were gone. I was flying 3 missions a day.
I had 2. I used to get 2, but I never got
1. I got a lot of 3s. Go up, get coffee and donuts. Up again, coffee and donuts. Goddamn, I was tired of coffee and donuts. Yeah. No, but that was...
In France, you know, we stayed in tents there in Milan when we moved over to Milan.
We had... I'm going to have to show you this. This is, we had pup tents when we arrived. The Black Widow was in first. They came in, and they were there a few days and took off. We came in. We came in fast, right? I mean, we're probably the first group that came in. That went into France. We flew right in there and sat down. We put pup tents up. We dug a trench for our bath. And we had a rail. And then the ultimate happened. I have a picture of it. I was looking for it for years and finally found it. Here is...
Hey, when I get straightened out and get a lot of this stuff, I'll leave some stuff maybe 2 years, 7 years.
I'll show you where I got...
Now I can't locate it.
I'll show you where I got wounded. I was in a turret position at the time of all God and things. And I got this right here on my nose. I didn't even... I went out right after we landed. I got in the other plane and we took off again. I didn't even make a report or anything to it. So he kept on with the tents. But this when I was in a hospital.
Yeah.
Picking the apples. Here at my cast on, I had my clothes. And
you got a hell of a lot. Well, see, no, I didn't get too many pictures because
well, I
was in my head.
And I'm going. Oh, this was in England. I had 3 flights that day, and I was tired.
Yeah.
This picture. Here's the modern facility. A 3-hole bomb bomber.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a big blow up with this
When we were on that friggin' march in Germany, there was a pole stretched across there and just went over.
Well, that's what we had first. And the darnest thing, we're right by the road, and all the people going to church, bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. You're taking a crap. Frogs. So I go in a crapper this one day, you know, and all they had was a hole in the floor with 2 pads for your feet, you know. And you have to aim for the floor. So I'm taking crap, and this woman come up with a mop. She's mopping, and all. Bonjour, bonjour. Man, what does that mean? He's all shot.
There at Milan, there was like 5 pounds. The airfield took in like 5 pounds. Let me
You recognize that guy? Threw that.
There's stories. Hey, that's Kenny Bauer there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Where's he? He's from up around here.
I don't know where the hell he's from.
Just DeLeo.
Tony. I try to remember his name. Tony DeLeo.
Yeah, you know where he is? Where? Up in Dalton. He runs a blues joint.
Where?
Up in Dalton, What's Scranton.
Is he there?
That's.
I'm gonna have to get together. Remember? Oh, here. Okay. Here's Carlos.
Yeah, there's 4
Here's a guy you should know.
Yeah, that's.
The twins. Remember the twins?
Yeah. That was.
I forgot their name.
That's me there again. That's me again.
Okay, I'll have to have one you'll have to remember now. Close your eyes. Right here. you know, I had the more fun after we were all introduced to the college girls, you know.
Yeah,
I think it was something like that. She's the one that started off. So I walk in, and I forgot the name of the girl I was dating. I said, is she here? He says, no, she went home this weekend. Well, I do. I said, sure, you'll do. You had your choice. You take anyone you want.
That's when we went to that college here.
The college in Wilson. That was fun. I got those together for the reunion, and a couple of them we took.
Where did Kenny Bauer wind up?
I don't know. I lost track of everybody. Then there's Bill Miller from near Pittsburgh. Now, Bingo's
trying to see the zombies in here. We may have them and don't know it.
I might have anybody there. I have some other pictures at home. I didn't bother.
I don't have any of these because mine disappears when I get shot down.
Yeah. See, here's where this piece of plexiglass. I don't think it was black. I think it was a plexiglass came through and clipped me right.
Hey, Miles, one time, I'll never forget that from the church. He was up in the turret and he got a piece up in the cambrian ring, piece of clock. And it kept going, he wouldn't stop. You know, as long as it made contact with him. And boy, he's running around like a butt on his shit out.
Yeah, that's my... I used to smoke them.
Yeah. So then I have done it ever since.
I started going down to Miami. I got home, I had the cast on. And my kid brother, he's mad about airplanes.
My kid
in the hospital.
My kid brother was in dirigible.
Oh,
In the Navy, submarine patrol.
That was those things. And some of our planes there.
Yeah.
Now, Willie Dingus, I don't know if you remember him, he was right with us. Now, after I got to our crew broke up, he flew with Haig. I met Haig at my first reunion. And this is Shorty out of Henderson. He was with us too. That Mama Lou is one of the most famous planes. I'm sitting there watching a video of some of the, it was taken in France. And I'm looking at this guy. I said, "You old bastard!" I says, "I recognize you from somewhere." And he said, "God damn, I was crew chief on Mama Lou." I said, "That's the one." I said, "I have a picture of you on top of the engine." So I got this picture.
Jonesy has a bunch of it.
Remember him? He was right with us, right in the same gang. Well, this was my.
Who is it?
I can't remember his name. He's from up there, Germantown.
Oh, wait a minute.
DeMarco or
Hey, DiMartino.
DiMartino.
That's Jonesy's buddy, crew member. Him and Ray Jones were on the same.
Yeah, he was right with me. In France. This is my French girlfriend. She and her sister wanted me to stay there, not put down a camp. I said, "You don't have enough room, dirt floors, and that old farmhouse." And her daddy used to cut tobacco for me. He raised tobacco. So her younger sister said, "That's all right. I sleep here, Joseph sleeps here, and Suzanne sleeps here. All three in one bed." I said, "That's all I need." That's all I need. Oh, I took this picture. No, that's it.
Wait a minute. You know, the thing of it is...
That was our CO there.
Yeah. The thing of it is, you go to the reunion...
Let me show you something here. I have to show you this. I took out of Stars and Stripes. Okay. Now,
that's 62.
Now look at this.
Yeah.
I took the goddamn figure.
Yeah, that was a German buzz bomb.
Yeah, buzz bomb. Yeah. It's a buzz bomb. I took the picture. Look at this. Same doggone track, exact. Identical, only mine's sharper, But the same track. Same V here, all the way down here, double here, and then a zigzag here. I took the doggone picture. Yeah, let's flip it in here.
Oh, no, I got all my service records.
I didn't get anything.
I
got nothing. I'll
tell you what, the senator was killed, John Hines.
Hines?
He got it for me.
Did you just request it from him? Or?
Yeah, he sent a request in for me to the War Department, and they got it. They gave me all, even my pay records, which wasn't much.
Yeah, these are our 10s.
Yeah.
Okay, here's some of the guys. Now this was the photo group. Now this fellow lives in Puerto Rico. Well, where is he? No, not him. Now this fellow that lives in Warren, Ohio.
Warren, Ohio.
After for years, I see this guy walking up the street. I said, God, he's familiar. I walked up to him, and I said, were you in France during the war? He said, yeah. Air Force? He said, yeah. I said, Cortez bomb group? He said, yes. I said, I was with you. He said, no. He said, what's your name? I said, no. He said, no way. There's only one guy who was with me in France, Joe Kaczynski, and I said, how do you do? So we went to reunion. This is our crew. I blew it up in the lab when I was there.
But Tony DeLeo, I inquired about him, and he come out and bought a booze joint. Stayed in the booze business. And I heard about it up at the Vets Hospital, but I haven't had a chance to get up to Dalton. Dalton is where he lives. Dalton is where he lives.
Not too far from here, is it?
Right, about maybe 80 miles.
Oh, God.
Maybe 80 miles.
Here it is.
Yeah, well, he's a...
And this fellow, this Mamadou, he was there. Yeah, B-17 and then I have one. Oh, here, this was home invasion. Were you in on it?
Yeah,
Along up the dikes and all.
yeah, I was an outfall up there.
Oh, yeah.
It was a market garden business. I was in on that. Montgomery screwed up. We went in there the night before they did, and the next day the gliders were going in. And I said, I really went back and Jesus Christ, if they go, we just left, they got problems.
They look like I have a whole body cast on. All plastered up. That's all he did to me. That's the only treatment I had. And he tried to treat this arm here.
I was lucky to live with him.
I tried to treat this arm here, and I told him, keep this cotton picking fingers off my arm. I treated myself.
Yeah, I remember some of them guys.
I don't know what the hell this one was. Put my name on it. Oh, that was Roy.
Roy.
This was our crew. That was taken in Florence.
Yeah, I got one. That's where this one I was taking from.
Well, remember these pictures? Look like a bunch of frogs.
Pictures.
Yeah. I have those.
I lost mine. I didn't escape.
I have an escape kit at home with gold coins and gold coins, gold 24-karat gold rings. And
yeah, that's Kenny Bauer there.
Yeah, Kenny.
But yeah, they got a little brown, didn't they?
Brown. There was a brown.
Yeah.
Now this see this fellow right here. Yeah. These were the guys in the photo group.
Yeah.
This is Chuck from Warren, and this is the fellow from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So the reunion in San Antonio, he shows up. Yeah, he was San Antonio. He shows up. So this Colonel Golden, it's in there. He says, Joe, he says, the reason he came in was he heard you were coming. So he came up this last reunion and he didn't make because his daughter died.
Hey, that's Tommy there. That's Eddie Joe.
No. That's
that don't look like Zombie.
It could be. I thought that was Carlos.
No,
That's Zombie. Yeah, by God, that is.
That's Zombie, though. I'm a big Zombie. It's Eddie Joseph.
That is, by gosh. God. You know, I kept looking at that smile.
That bitch when he used to sleep. You know how he slept? On his knees and elbows, his ass up in the air all the time.
You kidding?
No.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's Zombie. Take an inch off the wife and she'll tell you she met him. Yeah, that's Zombie there. Hey, Joe, sure to check. There he is again. That's him. You don't have any name on the back of these pictures, do you?
No, that's the trouble. You know, I took pictures of it, and here.
That's Zombie, sure enough. Yes. That's a degree set. Hey, I got a
reporter. Is your reporter here anymore?
No.
He took our pictures and that.
Huh?
He took our pictures and that.
He's gone now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could leave. That's what I thought of that. Because I figured you too. If he was here now, he'd have probably brought nothing to do you.
Now you're talking. Yeah, that sure is a zombie.
That is. I took him as Flores but then I'm looking at his file.
You lit out here. That's Eddie Joseph.
I'll be done.
He's the one that said to me, you're dead. Wait and lay with him. It's just a deal. Hey, Seal.
Where were you in England?
Wethersfield.
See, we were in Gosfield. Here's a memorial that was
Yeah, I know you were in Wethersfield.
Yeah, here's the memorial that was placed.
We know that the field is still there in England. We were at.
Well, ours is tore up one big mountain of blacktop, and the tower's only there.
There was a guy who wrote a book about ours. Oh, well. He came to the group reunion last year.
Yeah, we had one from Gosfield. They were getting all the memorials and everything else, and trying to get all the pictures and everything. Remember that picture I showed you, the buzz bomb?
Yeah.
Here she is. Yeah. That's the other one we had. That was last year.
You belong to the 9th Air Force Association?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not 9th Air Force. 410 Bomber Group.
I'm sure to remember. That's the reason I asked. The reason I asked you, this star in that emblem is what they give you. They give you a lapel pin. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, when you join it, they...
I didn't know there was a 9th Air Force Association. I'll have to join.
Well, I need to have a paper armor around here somewhere. I get paper somewhere once in a while. They give me one year, I put on my back. Look, that star means you're a return member.
No kidding.
I just got a new one from not too long ago. I wish I would have kept it.
I still have mine. I'd like to get another pair. You know what I'm going to do, though? When I go out to the show, I'm going to see if I could...
You want a pair?
I'll see if I could...
You want a pair? Look at that. Where's the caterpillar there?
Oh, yeah, that's cute.
See, like a caterpillar?
Yep, I didn't get any of the ribbons. All I got was this and this.
Oh, well.
That's it.
I got them all.
I'm an orphan.
You're right, bro.
I used to have it.
Here. They sent me that picture when I joined the association.
Oh, that's a nice one. That's sharp.
It's only $9. Join it.
You have to join.
I'll get the address to you as soon as I find it.
Or the application if you do.
Yeah. Good.